Hey, you guys asked for this. Hey everyone, welcome to the ranking. Here's my ranking of all the Twilight movies. Yes, the freaking Twilight movies. Yes, I'm going to be doing a ranking of all the Twilight movies from bad to worst. Yes, this is a different kind of ranking I'm doing. Usually, if I do like a top 10 list, it's like the top 10 worst of the films and stuff. And when I do a ranking, it's from my least favorite to my favorite. This is a very different ranking because I'm ranking all these movies, they're all bad movies. The Twilight franchise is a YA franchise. It was books that I have read, and they're not good books, and they were made into movies that are also not good. And yeah, I did my top 10 worst YA movies, and I said in the comment section below if you guys wanted me to do the ranking of all the Twilight films, just comment below and let me know. And a lot of you wanted me to rank all the Twilight films, so this is it. I'm going to be ranking them from bad to worst. I'm gonna start the ranking off with the shitty Twilight movies, but not the shittiest. Like, it's gonna go from, again, bad to worst. Like, it's a bad movie, but then they're gonna get worse as they go down. Again, usually I start off with the worst ones, but this one I'm beginning with the not so bad, and then the number one is going to be the shittiest Twilight film. So yeah, it's a different kind of ranking, but for Twilight, I have to make an exception with it because this whole franchise sucks. And I am here to bash the ever-loving shit out of this whole franchise, so be excited. I'm certainly excited. So yeah, here we go. Here's my ranking of all 5 of the Twilight films from bad to even worse. Alright, let's get to it. Coming at number 5 is the very first Twilight movie. Yes, this movie came out in, 2008, I think? And yeah, this started the franchise off. And I will fully admit, when I saw the trailers for the first Twilight film, it didn't look that bad. It didn't look good, but it didn't look as awful as I thought it would be and stuff. And, you know, I thought maybe it would be a fun vampire movie and stuff, and I didn't know if it was like PG-13 or R-rated and stuff. I'm like, maybe it's like a romance, like Lost Boys sort of vampire movie. I'm like, even if it's a romance, maybe the romance is done right and stuff. Because I didn't read the books. I haven't seen any of these films. This is the very first film of this franchise, so I went into this film with an open mind, and yeah, I thought maybe it could be good. I was wrong. It's not good. Like, the first Twilight film, it fails across the board when it comes to direction, writing, good performances, good storytelling. There barely is a story until the third act of the film, and the movie is directed by Catherine Hardwicke, and she's not a bad director, but she clearly had no idea what she was doing with this film. It has laughably bad effects, especially the running scenes. Oh my god, very funny. Hilariously bad, but it's bad. The chemistry between Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, it is awkward and creepy, very stalkerish. It is just weird as fuck. And the whole movie is just them two staring at each other for about an hour and a half until the fucking story plot begins when the bad vampire James smells Bella and wants to eat her and like goes out of his way to like kill her and stuff for no reason. He has no idea who she is. He can kill any humans he wants, but he wants to kill her for some reason, and he wants to fight Edward at the end of the film for some reason. Makes no sense. I have no idea. I don't even understand his motivation. Anyways, the movie begins with Bella narrating the film, and my god, her narration is so blah and bland. She sounds so uninteresting, and throughout this whole franchise, Bella barely smiles or laughs or even emotes any emotion. She's just like, yeah, I'm Bella. Yes, I'm gonna miss Phoenix. I'm going to Forks to live with my father. Oh, Edward. That's her screaming in pain. She looks like she has to take a shit the whole fucking film. And yeah, she goes to this new school, and everyone likes her. Everyone thinks she's like the most beautiful thing ever. Kristen Stewart's a very beautiful actress, but my god, Jesus. She has no personality. I don't see the attraction. All the guys like her. I don't understand why. There's nothing really to her. A person has to have personality and stuff. Yes, she's attractive, but she's so blah and bland and boring, and she has like zero personality. Like, how can you be attracted to her? And like Edward is like drawn to her because he can't read her mind and stuff. And like when she first meets him, oh my god, it's hilarious. He like smells her for the first time. He's just like, I'm like, real subtle, buddy. And yeah, they have like no chemistry with each other. Again, all they do is stare at each other, and their conversations with each other is so boring. And how you learn about these characters, you barely learn anything about Bella. And even when Edward like explains the backstory of his powers and his family, it's so boring and so uninteresting. It's just, it feels exposition heavy. It doesn't feel very it doesn't flow properly, and it just doesn't feel like basic human conversation and stuff, and just, oh god. It's not good. And the only person I guess is trying a little bit is Billy Burke as her dad, Charlie. He's not that bad, but he's not that great either, and that's about it. The action scenes in this movie are a joke. The baseball sequence makes no sense. I don't understand why they hate baseballs. Like, it makes thunder noises, and oh my god, it's really dumb. And again, James, the villain James, his motivation doesn't make any sense. How he lures Bella at the ending to this dance studio where she used to dance. How did he know she used to dance there? How did he get a videotape of her mother? Like, where did he get these things? How did he know to go there? How did he know where she was from? How did he know she went to a dance school? Like, and why is she that stupid? She actually believes James has her mother, and then she goes, then Edward finds her, and like, how did Edward find how? Everything is so convenient in this movie, and just, yeah, and again, Bella, she's a shitty role model for all women out there. She's not a strong character, she's not an independent character. All she cares about is a guy in her life, a guy has to save her and stuff, and just, she's a horrible role model for women and stuff, and she wants to give her life to Edward. Even at the end of Twilight, she wants to be a vampire, basically ruin her whole life just so she can be with Edward. She's only known Edward for a few months, and then they're already talking about spending the rest of their lives together. They haven't even been together that long. This is so immature, and this is such bad writing. Ugh. Yeah, I'm ranting about this movie. I know this should be the worst. I'm ranting my ass off about this film, but the reason it's not the worst Twilight film, it's laughably bad. Like, there are some really bad action sequences, really bad effects, and they're very funny to watch. And the romance of this movie, as bad as it is, it's very funny in this film. Like, it's so creepy and stalkerish, it's just funny. But the positives is, it's a nice looking film. Like, the cinematography looks really nice, and the production's okay. All the actors look great, so it's a pretty looking film. So I give it that. It's not good, though. It's not the worst Twilight film. I'd say out of all the Twilight movies, it's probably the most tolerable because it's probably the most laughably bad one, but it's still bad. Coming in number 4 is Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. Yeah, Breaking Dawn Part 2. This could have been easily the best Twilight film by default. Like, this is a bad film, too. It's, again, like the first one, it's pretty bad. Like, it's nice looking, it's got decent cinematography, and again, everyone looks nice and stuff. It's a pretty looking film, but it's still got laughably bad dialogue, a story that doesn't make sense, really creepy shit. Instead of Edward being the creeper, Jacob is the creeper in this one. He, like, imprints on Bella's daughters. He wants to marry her, and it's really gross because she's like a baby, and then she's like a little girl, and he's like in love with the little girl. That is so creepy. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna bang that girl when she gets older. Like, that is fucking disgusting. And then, like, Renesmee, the little daughter, she like has this weird age thing. She like grows up quicker than natural human beings, which makes no sense. I don't understand. Why is she so special and like that? Just, ugh. And this time Bella is a vampire and she has her powers like she did as a human. They still don't explain how she has this power, even when she's a human. Like, the vampires can't use their powers on her. Why? They don't explain it. It's just nonsense. Why? Why does she have this gift? Who the fuck knows? Like, they don't even explain that in the books. I've read the books. They don't even explain that. How does she have this power over these vampires? Who the fuck knows? We'll never know. But the only reason this could have been, like, one of the best ones is the ending sequence. The ending sequence is this big fallout battle between, Arrow and his fucking the Volturi, yeah. The Volturi against all the werewolves and vampires, all fighting to protect Renesmee and stuff, and yeah. It's the vampires and werewolves versus the Volturi, and it's a ridiculous ending. It is hilarious, but it's pretty badass. It's pretty cool, because you get to see all these vampires use all their powers, like earthquakes and fire, and you see all this crazy shit, all these people getting, like, decapitated, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty awesome and shit. And you get to see characters that, because you hate all these characters, you get to see some characters die, and it's pretty awesome. You get to see, like, Dakota Fanning get eaten by a werewolf. That's fucking hilarious. You get to see Carlisle get his head ripped off. You're like, holy shit. You get to see Jasper die. You get to see a lot of characters die. You get to see Edward get the shit kicked out of him. Bella actually is a badass. She like rips Arrow's head off and like burns him and shit. Like, it's pretty fucking crazy. It's kind of dumb, but it's dumb fun. And yeah, and in the books, they never did that in the books. It was just Alice showing Arrow doing the little vision thing, and that's kind of it. And he just kind of walks away and shit. They actually showed the battle sequence. And I thought when the battle sequence started, I thought they were going to go completely different from the book. I thought, oh my god, they're going to kill characters off. They're going completely different from the book. Good, because the book sucks. Go different. This is an adaptation. You can be different than the book. Yeah, they really fuck it up. Like, the really cool badass action scene at the ending, it was all a lie. It's basically all a vision Alice is showing Arrow. So all the cool things you saw and all the characters that you got to watch die, none of it happened. It was just bullshit, and oh my god, I was so angry watching that scene. I'm like, oh my god. You kidding me right now? The only legit cool thing you put in Twilight, it is all bullshit. Fuck you, movie. Go fuck yourself. Just fuck you. Just, so angry. Like, I'm so pissed off because the whole movie's stupid. It's all just typical Twilight shit with bad dialogue, bad performances. Like the scene when Bella has to pretend to be human. I'm like, she never really acted like a human to begin with. Even when she was a human, she didn't act human. How are you gonna teach her how to act like a human? Stupid. But like, the whole movie is just bad acting, bad dialogue, bad storytelling. Everything's just stupid until the ending, when it becomes just stupid fun, like the cool action scene. That's awesome. But then it's all bullshit. That's not awesome. And then it ends with a creepy joke, and Jacob's like, hey, Edward, should I call you Dad? I'm like, ew. Fucking gross. And then, like, Bella says to Edward, she's like, no one will love anyone like I love you and stuff. I'm like, you can't justify that shit. You can't justify that. Yeah, you love this boring douchebag more than anyone loves anyone in the world. That is fucking bullshit. I'm sure people love their husband and wives more than, just as much, at least, as you love this boring dickbag and shit like that. Ugh. The dialogue in this movie and all these movies are just, they're just so cringy, so awful, and just, And Bill Condon directed this movie. He couldn't even make this look good or have it be a good movie and shit. He put a cool action scene, but then he blew it at the ending, so, yeah. It's not the worst Twilight, because at least it has a cool scene. It gets ruined, but at least it's cool to watch. But it's still a bad film. Coming in number 3 is Twilight Saga Eclipse. This is bad. This is directed by David Slade, a very underrated director. I think his career was like ruined because of this film. Yeah, he did a few episodes of American Gods and shit, but he was such a good director. He directs a lot of great underrated films like Hard Candy and 30 Days of Night. Holy shit, even a good director like him can't make Twilight look good, and this is another really slog to get through. It's not as laughably bad, so it's really boring to watch. It's a painful watch. It's a painful sit through this one. And then it builds more on the love triangle between Bella, Jacob, and Edward, and just Bella comes off so unlikable in this movie because this whole movie, everyone's fighting for Bella and shit because Victoria, James's girlfriend from the first one, she's back. They got a different actress to play her. I have no idea why. I don't know why Bryce Dallas Howard even agreed to do this, and she makes this other vampire guy named Riley. She gets all these new vampires. They're called the newborn vampires, and apparently, when you first become a vampire, you're at your most strongest. Why? I have no idea. Just, again, making shit up. Clearly that's not the case because they beat them all at the ending. The Cullens and the vampires defeat the newborn army. So apparently that's all bullshit. Because you're supposed to be at your most strongest when you're newborn. They don't get their asses kicked at the end of the film, so that logic is bullshit. And you get to learn more about Jasper and his boring story, how he used to lead a newborn army back in like the Civil War days, and God, it's uninteresting. And you get to learn more about Rosalie. Her story's interesting. Like, it's only like 30 seconds long, but that's like the only interesting part. That is literally the only interesting part of the film is Rosalie's story. She was like married, but then the guys like raped her and killed her, and then she got like her revenge when she turned into a vampire and shit. That's kind of cool. I wish this whole movie was about that. That's interesting. That's badass. She like gets revenge on those fucking guys who killed her and shit. Like, damn, it's dark, it's raw, it's sick, but it's also just awesome payback. She like fucks them up and everything. Like, that's kind of cool. That's an interesting story. I wanted a whole movie about that. It's only like a minute long in the film, and literally that is the only thing I liked about this movie. Everything else sucks. The visuals suck, the action sucks, the werewolves still look like big CGI puppy dogs, and oh my god, this three-way romance is awful. The love triangle is ridiculous. Taylor Lautner can't act with a shit. Robert Pattinson's bad too, but at least he's just, I don't know, he's just dry and stuff. But Jacob looks like he's trying to act, but he's terrible. Her chemistry with both of them, her dialogue with both of them is just awful. There's scenes when the movie tries to be funny, and it's awful and cringeworthy. There's a scene up in the mountains when the three of them are in a tent together. It's really weird. And again, Bella is such a bitch. She's in love with Edward, but then she kisses Jacob, and she's like, I'm in love with both of you. I'm like, you're in love with both of them? You greedy little bitch. No. Both these dudes like you, and you're just like, I love you both. Stupid. Just so stupid. Such a greedy little bitch. And yeah, everything about this movie, it's a failure. It's a shitty Twilight film with shitty writing, shitty direction. Just, oh my god, I hate these characters so much, and there's just so much cringiness in this film, and yeah, one good scene. Other than that, this movie sucks. Coming in number 2 is Twilight Saga: New Moon. Whew, this one really pissed me off a little bit. My number 1 pissed me off more, but this one, oh god, fucking hate this movie. Again, at the beginning, it's just the same old shtick. Edward and Bella, their little romance and stuff, and her birthday is coming up, and she's like, I'm too old for you now, and I'm like, seriously? We're still on this? She wants to be turned into a vampire to marry this boring guy who's not interesting. He's just good looking. Like, good message for everyone. He's good looking. That's love for you. It's all about looks. Fuck. Stupid. And yeah, they learn more about the Volturi, and learn is it's a soft word because you don't learn much. You just learn that they're this organization of all these old vampires who have powers. They don't actually talk about how they started the Volturi. They just say they're these big dudes that have been vampires for thousands of years, and they have these powers, and that's it. They like vampires with powers. Carlisle used to live with them. Why? I don't know. They don't explain the important details. They just say it's the Volturi. That's it. They have powers. That's it. Michael Sheen is the leader, Arrow. He's pretty funny. Like, he's enjoyably bad. He's awful, but he's just so over the top. He's like, oh, Edward, oh. He's really funny. Yeah. Then in this movie, Bella has a birthday, then she gets a little paper cut on her finger, then Jasper tries to kill her, and Edward, like, throws her across the room, which is really funny, actually. It is legit hilarious. Like, why did he have to throw her across the room? Like, he pushes Jasper out of the way, that's all he had to do, but, like, as soon as he sees Jasper run at her, he, like, booshes Bella so far across the room, she bashes into the table, her arm cuts open, I'm like, her arms cut open. It's because of you, you dumbass. You pushed her across the whole room. You didn't need to do that. Like, all you had to do was grab Jasper and take him outside, but, like, he, like, whooshes Bella across the room and she, like, cuts her whole arm open. I'm like, well, yeah, she's human, not a freaking bouncy ball. Like, what the fuck? It was funny. Like, I was laughing my ass off. As soon as Edward, like, whooshes her across the room, I was dying. I'm like, was that necessary? You had to push her across the whole room and cut her whole arm open? Nice going, genius. And, yeah, then Edward's like, oh my god, I have to stay away from you. I'll just hurt you. We'll all hurt you. And then he, like, leaves Bella. I'm like, it's your fault, you idiot. And of course she gets upset about it and shit like that. And then there's this montage. It's in the books, so it's just as dumb. It's like this big montage of Bella going through all the months. She's like in a trance. She screams and cries all night. And like Charlie doesn't know what's wrong with her. And she's like going through this psychological trauma because Edward left her. It's really dumb. Like, I was actually legit angry. I could have been, like, laughing at it. I was pissed off. I'm like, seriously? Seriously? Like, oh my god. Like, I get teenage girls, they get upset when their boyfriend breaks up with them, but this guy, you haven't even been dating him that long. You guys have been talking about marriage and stuff. Like, how? You haven't even known each other that long. Like, he just leaves you, okay? Fuck him. Like, if he wants to leave, go. But, like, her life is, like, ruined because he's not in her life anymore. Like, again, that is a horrible message for women. Like, oh yeah, just cry and suffer because your man's not with you. Like, that is a disgusting message to tell all teenage girls. If your boyfriend breaks up with you, cry and mope because you're not going to be happy unless you have a man in your life. Like, oh my god, that is a repulsive message. And that whole montage pisses me off and it makes like little to no sense. I get like girls get upset when their boyfriend breaks up with them, but you move on after a week or two. Like, she like suffers through months and she can't sleep at night. Like, you've only been with the guy for maybe a year. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Like, Jesus Christ. So immature, so fucking stupid. This movie clearly doesn't know women. Like, I know I'm not a woman, but trust me, I grew up with women. No one would act like this. Like, this is so fucking retarded. Like, fucking Twilight shit. Fuck. This movie's directed by Chris Weitz, by the way. He's a good director. Again, good directors can't make this franchise work. But in this one, she falls in love with a new boy, Jacob, who is a werewolf. Where does she find these people? Like, I don't understand. She can't fall in love with a normal guy. Like, she falls in love with a vampire, and then, of course, the next person she falls in love with is a werewolf. How fucking convenient, right? And, of course, werewolves and vampires hate each other, so that begins the love triangle. And then, of course, Jacob, like, abandons her because he's slowly turning into a werewolf. He's like, oh my god, I might hurt you and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, this shit again. They're repeating this shit. And, of course, she treats Jacob like garbage and stuff. Like, she starts to fall in love with him, but then soon as she hears about Edward and he might kill himself, she just abandons Jacob and says, you know what, screw you. Thank you for making me feel better, but screw you. I need to get to my boring vampire boyfriend, so off to Italy and stuff. And yeah, it's dumb. Like, Edward wants to flash himself to the people in, is it Rome or something? Like, he wants to flash himself so the Volturi will kill him and everything, and yeah, Bella comes in the nick of time to save him, and then begins this really bad fight sequence when Edward fights the Volturi, and yeah, they make a deal, say, oh yeah, we'll turn Bella into a vampire because she has like these gifts and all, and then the movie ends with Edward like proposing to Bella. I just broke up with you and you suffered for months and months, but will you marry me? Of course she says yes. Stupid. And yeah, that's New Moon. New Moon's a stupid movie. Like, I didn't laugh really once, other than the pushing sequence when he pushes her. That was funny. Other than that, this movie's ridiculous. It's a bad message for women. The writing is atrocious, and it just pissed me off, this film. And it really got under my skin, and yeah. Hate these movies. I hate them. And my number one least favorite, and what I think is the worst and shittiest Twilight movie, is of course Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1. This is a disgusting, repulsive, stupid, ridiculous, ass turd of a fuckfest of a film, and yeah, it's not good. Directed by Bill Condon. This is when Bill Condon first came in and stuff. Not his fault. Again, the source material itself is bad. I don't think he wrote the screenplay, so again, he didn't have much to work with this film, and this movie is the most boringest, but it's also the most repulsive one, and has a more disgusting message than all the Twilight films, which is really saying a lot. And yeah, this movie begins with the wedding and stuff. Edward and Bella are finally getting married. Yay! Like I give a fuck. Yeah, they get married. Edward spoils her, buys her a car and all this stuff because, you know, materialistic things. She's marrying a good-looking vampire. She's gonna live forever. She gets all this riches and spoils and stuff. And does she show any ounce of happiness? Of course not. It's Kristen Stewart in this movie. Good actress, but she's awful in these films, and this is her. I'm getting married. I love Edward. Yay. Oh, I'm pregnant. Don't kill the baby. Powerful acting. And then most of the movies, them on the honeymoon having vampire sex. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. And yes, Bella gets pregnant. And, oh my god. This movie tries to teach you about pregnancy and teenage pregnancy and stuff. And it's awful, awkward, very cringy, and just Edward comes off like a big dick bag in this one. He's just like, I gotta get that monster out of you. I'm like, whoa, Jesus Christ. But if you did a lot of bad things to her and slept with her, now she's pregnant and you're like, get that monster out of you? Like, that's fucked up, actually. And of course, Bella, rightfully, I'm on Bella's side this time. Like, she wants to keep the baby and, like, get it away from everyone who wants to kill the baby inside of her. Like, what the fuck, man? This is weird and twisted. And it's not in a good way, like a dark film. It's weird and very cringy and just, I just did not like it. And again, it doesn't have a good message about pregnancy and teenage pregnancy and stuff, and it's really weird. And then Jacob has his story, and of course, the very first scene of Jacob, he just takes the shirt off. It's like in his contract, he has to take that shirt off. And then, of course, the werewolves want to kill the baby, and Jacob's like, oh, don't kill Bella and stuff, and there's a scene where they have this, like, psychic connection with each other. It's really dumb. And, of course, the one werewolf is on Jacob's side, and they stand against with the Cullens and stuff, so Bella can have the baby, and that's literally the whole film, is just pregnancy, Bella having the child, the end. It's the most boringest, pointless, and cringiest film. I hated every second of this movie. Every fucking second of this film was utter painful, and I hated it. I just despised this film, and the scene with the pregnancy and stuff, it could have been a really disgusting scene, but they, of course, had to turn away every shot they had to make it PG-13 and stuff. It could have been a really fucked up scene, but of course, they didn't want to show anything. I'm like, you already are going cringy enough, so just show everything. Who gives a fuck? And yeah, the fight sequences are horribly done. Taylor Lautner is an awful actor, and in this movie, he sees the baby, and instantly when he sees the baby, he falls in love with it. It's as creepy as it sounds, and just, yeah, it ends with Bella turning into a vampire. The end. We'll see you in Breaking Dawn Part 2. Really pointless. They could have just made Breaking Dawn into one big 3-hour film. Yes, it would have been painful to sit through, but this whole movie is pointless. It doesn't make, like, this whole movie could have been shoved into, like, 30 minutes of a film. So they could have had Breaking Dawn Part 2, and just, this whole film could have been crammed into 30 minutes of Breaking Dawn Part 2, and the whole movie could have been just Breaking Dawn. But, of course, they had to make money and make it into 2 parts. Pointless. This whole movie's pointless, ridiculous, most cringiest, and it's hands down the worst fucking Twilight film out of the whole franchise, which is pretty bad because this whole franchise sucks. So yeah, that was my ranking of all the Twilight movies from the bad to worst. Yes, from shitty to even shittier. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed the ranking, and yeah, in the comment section below, please tell me what are your thoughts and opinions of the whole Twilight franchise. Do you think this is a good franchise? Do you think this is a bad franchise? Do you think it's the worst of the YA adaptation films? Do you think it's the worst of the worst? And also, what do you think is the best Twilight film by default? And what do you think is the worst Twilight film by default? So yeah, give me your rankings down below from bad to worst. Comment below, let me know. And as always, for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.